of the pain. I was tired of the losses, I wanted the gain. I want the whole world to know my name. If I make it out, no, I'm bringing the game. They my brothers, yeah, they know my pain. We don't share a mind, but I love them the same. Gotta stay in my lane. Never let the money fill my brain.
Hey, welcome to Dream Tour, the podcast where we take you on a tour of many different types of people's dreams, goals, and aspirations. You know, we try and focus on artists, athletes, and entrepreneurs, and today I'm bringing you one of our very first pro athlete.
What's up, everybody?
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Christian Porter. My next fight, I'm going to be a professional MMA fighter. Right now, I'm ranked number 1 in Ohio at 145 pounds. My record is 5-1, all finishes. So we'll keep the ball rolling, baby.
Oh my gosh, 5-1. So that's 5-1 in amateur. And then, did you do like boxing or wrestling?
So I have 5 boxing matches and 6 MMA fights.
6 MMA fights.
Altogether, I got about 11 fights.
Okay, wow. So, like, what was your background in this? Like, where did you come from being a high school wrestler?
So that's the one thing I wish I did. And, you know, like, if I could give somebody some advice, I'd say go wrestle. But I started in MMA.
Let me get this out
So,
of here. This is a camera case. We're fine.
So when I first started, it was just strictly MMA. You know, like I didn't have a boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, or anything like that. So it was just all together. So if anything, you're learning the fighting of it, not like the wrestling of it and all that.
Yeah, you don't
like,
learn the individual aspects. Yeah. When I went to a couple trainings, like I liked when like there was like they did just boxing, then they did just jiu-jitsu, and like I liked that better than trying to just figure it all out for sure, because it was easier that way to figure out one aspect.
See, once you start to like, I'd say at the very like beginning stages, you want to really focus on the boxing, focus on the basics of jiu-jitsu, the basics of wrestling. Mm-hmm. But by the time you have an MMA fight, you need to remember it's a fight.
Yeah.
So like it's not wrestling anymore, it's not boxing anymore. It's fight.
It's just it's when you mix the martial arts. Yeah, when you actually have to mix them. All right. So where are you from?
Cuyahoga Falls. So Cuyahoga Falls. I went to Cuyahoga Falls High School, and recently I moved to like the Hinckley, Brunswick area.
Okay. So you're from Falls. How old are you?
23.
23, and you were the number 1 at 145 featherweight in Ohio. Yes,
sir.
That is pretty impressive.
Took a lot to get there.
Yeah. So like, what is like a week of training like for you?
Dude, so
in the fight series, and then like on regular time too.
Honestly, I'd probably say that there is no regular time because it's a year-round sport. You don't get seasons, because if you treat it like a seasonal sport, you're gonna get passed up and you're gonna get whooped. You're gonna go into the fight and you're not gonna win because you're not training consistently. So for me, I want to treat this as a full-time job. To be, like world champion, you got to train like a world champion, and they're not training part-time. So for me, I train 3 times a day, 6 days a week.
3 times a day, 6 days a week.
And this is with the boxing, the wrestling, the conditioning, the jiu-jitsu.
So what do you like? Do you like wake up, do conditioning in the morning, and then like do like something else at night?
So like I'll wake up every day to do my workout at 8, unless I have to go to work. So like unless I go to work, I'll go do that. But like I'll wake up at 8 a.m. and I'll do P90X, and then I'll chill for a little bit, and then maybe I'll go to jiu-jitsu for the noon class or go box with my coach, and then like I'll do personal training in between the sessions and everything so I can rack up some money. So I'll go train at 8 a.m., chill for a little bit, go to jiu-jitsu, chill for a little bit, and then go back.
Oh, wow.
So I don't have much time to do other things. So
yeah,
like,
that's really dedicated, though. I mean, that's like kind of the idea behind Dream Tour. It's like everyone has their dreams and goals, but we bring the people on who have actually made some steps towards those dreams and goals, and it's a grind to get something started. And it being an athlete, starting a business, becoming a musician, the beginning stages are the grind stages, and that's
happen overnight.
Yeah, that's the people we like to talk to, the people who are in that grind. So like, what do you do? Do you like meditate, breathing routines, anything to keep your mind like, or?
I mean, I always just try to relax and don't overthink the situation. Like, even when you got a fight coming up or anything, you just gotta just kick it.
Yeah, I know
Lay
you
back,
said you
just
watch
chill.
Joe Rogan too, and he always talks about how like a decent amount of fighters do like breathing routines, just to remember, like they don't just remember like this is just a moment in time, and you just keep moving, keep moving.
I always think about it as like, well, I've been doing yoga and everything, so
yoga's
do yoga once or twice a week, and dude, I needed it.
Yeah, it's
So,
nice.
It's good to kind of like, get your head off the fighting, everything, get your head off the working out, because
Just be there.
when you got people training to beat you up all the time, man, it gets
They could create some anxiety. Yeah, they keep.
I wouldn't say anxiety, because ultimately, if this is what you like to do, you need to be comfortable in that environment. And I've kind of adapted to it, and I find.
I don't see anxiety as like a bad thing though. Anxiety is just thinking about like anxiety, like there is some bad anxiety where you're like overthinking about everything, but like if you have a little bit of anxiety about I have this podcast coming up, I'm a little nervous, but that nervous it's
because you care.
It's how you look.
If you didn't care, you wouldn't care.
It's how you look at it too, and it's like if I take that being nervous and I come in and I go, I'm so nervous, but if I take that being nervous and be like, yes, I'm excited about it. I feel like once you get the initial feelings of anxiety, you choose like to be excited or to be fearful. And
you don't got much time to decide either.
Dude, yeah, and dude, if you're afraid to do something, do it scared. I feel like that's a great saying, because then you won't be scared once you start doing it.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I know I got that somewhere. I didn't just come up with that, but someone gets the credit for that saying. It's a pretty popular saying there.
What was it?
It's if you're afraid to do something, do it scared. Because
I never heard of that. That's a good way to put it, though.
Yeah. So let's get started with like the beginning of like the Dream Torch show questions here. What's the earliest memory of what you wanted to be when you grow up? Like, say you went into like first grade, kindergarten, and like they said, what do you want to be when you grow up? What was that?
Honestly, so before the MMA, before I even started doing any of that, for me it was WWE.
Oh, really?
I had the wrestlers. Dude, my mom probably spent so much money on them wrestlers when I was younger. So I had the WWE wrestlers, the action figures, the belts.
All this.
And I would like, put my name on the belt and everything. So like, that's probably where it started. I was like, I knew I wanted to be a champion. I just didn't know with what.
Yeah,
that's a young kid.
That's great. And that like kind of answers the next question too. My next question is, how could you tie like what you wanted to be when you were a little kid to what you're becoming now, and like that ties together pretty well.
Yeah. So like for me, I'm really lucky because I have a good support system behind me. Which, as far as my parents, they're just as crazy about getting to the UFC as I am. So like they're
awesome.
like, go train, because you watch Khabib. He's training.
Dude, he's in the mountains somewhere training.
But ultimately, I'm not training for the people in Ohio. Mentally, I'm training for that guy.
Yeah.
I'm training for those people. So like, I'm number one right now in Ohio at my weight, but I'm not thinking anybody at that area. I'm thinking like the next level up. So like that's how
you
I
have to
train.
you have to see everyone in your game as a peer.
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever your craft is, if you don't see everyone as an equal, that you putting them on a pedestal is gonna eat you up when it gets there. You have to. Everyone's on this playing field, and we're all working. We're all working to be the best.
Respect the game.
Yeah, that's a great aspect to have, though. Like, I'm excited for when. So you said you have a fight, you're planning on taking, or your pro fight's coming up soon or something?
So I don't have anything scheduled yet.
Not scheduled.
I'm hoping with everything with like the pandemic, I'm one of the only people. Fortunately, I'm really lucky that I got to fight in March. So in March, that's when I won the belt. I won the Ohio Combat League featherweight title, and that's when I became number one in Ohio. So I'm lucky. I got to fight this year. Everybody else really didn't.
They didn't.
So like the next fight, I'm hoping it'll be like maybe December, beginning of the year, because the same place that Ohio Combat League, they have a show December 5th.
December 5th.
So like I'd like to do that, but that gives you not that much time to find an opponent, cut all, like you still got to do the whole thing. So if
you got to do all the promotion. There's a lot that goes into fighting. And like, but that'd be great. I'm gonna have to see that next fight for sure.
Come on up, dude.
Yeah. I love MMA. I don't really like get too much into it. I don't watch it all the time, but like
when you're there,
I know people who are amateurs, and I like to watch the amateurs a lot. Like I go to Honor all the time.
It's a
And
good card. I like that place.
yeah, it's what's that down in like in the Amish town where it's that
Mansfield?
No, it's I can't remember right now, but there's one fight down there with like Lucas
Chocan?
I can't even remember. But they have this fight down in the country at this fair place, and I love that fight. I can't remember Lucas's.
Summit County, I don't know, man. They got shows everywhere.
Honor has a lot.
Everywhere.
But I always go to that one.
Millersburg.
It was Millersburg. Yeah, I love the Millersburg one. I feel like the energy there is fun.
Yeah, dude, the energy at all the fights, man. I love that stuff.
It must be weird. Like, have you been watching the fights? I watched.
TV?
Yeah, like I watched the UFC fights I think last weekend, and like you can just like hear the blows. There's no one in there making noise.
It's almost better for some people because there's some athletes that you got that are really, really good in the gym, and then as soon as they go out in front of that people or in front of the lights, they can't fight how they do at the gym. So now that
it feels like
this
the
has
gym.
never happened where we're fighting in empty arenas. So now that you may have that guy who's not good at fighting in front of the crowd, well, he doesn't have a crowd now, so he may.
And it changes the game for him.
It changes the game. It changes the game in all aspects because now you have their coaches. You can really hear their coaches. You can hear
your coach.
You can hear your coach. You can hear the commentators. So if you land a good blow and the commentators are like, "Oh,
yeah,"
that plays. You're in the fight, dude.
Dude.
It's you versus another guy. So when you hear that, you're like,
and it's not just like a roar, and
yeah.
like when it's a big crowd, it's just like kind of a murmur.
Not there.
Yeah, but now you can hear everything. Oh my gosh, dude, when you hear like a kick hit on someone's side, it like echoes through the room. Like you don't realize how hard these people are getting hit. I bet you do, but I don't.
So one thing that you start to learn about it is when you start to do it, those loud slappy kicks, the ones that don't hurt that bad because it's foot. Oh. That's what's creating the slap. So when you hear a thud, that's when you know that shit hurt. You go watch like a Edson Barboza, if you guys have ever heard of Edson Barboza. That dude will chop leg kicks, body kick, and you won't hear the slap. You hear like a thud. And that's when you're like, oof.
Yeah. At MMA training, even just like light sparring and stuff, like, I think during jiu-jitsu, I got a black eye my first time I ever rolled in jiu-jitsu. Like,
so welcome to the gym.
It's a sport for a different breed for sure. So where do you want to be? Like, what are you like besides this next fight? What are your upcoming goals for becoming what is your goal to become world champ?
As far as I ain't going here to be a contender. So as far as me, like my goals for this next year, of course, get stronger, get smarter. Learn anything I can from anybody. That's one thing you got to have in the sport is just an open mind. You can learn from.
That's one thing that's going to take you. It'll take you far in life.
You can learn from a guy, so like you got to always have a open mind on. And when somebody's like showing you how to do something, you need to really absorb it because it could help you one day.
Yeah.
But as far as me, like with the fighting and everything, so right now I'm 23. I'd say by the time I'm 25, I want to have 5 pro fights. And I'm thinking like the Contender Series because they're handing them contracts out like hotcakes.
Yeah,
I can fight, so I know that when I go on there and people see me fight, I'm confident. I know I work hard. I can promote myself. I'm promotable, so it's like let's do it.
If you could go, I would love to see you in a Contender Series. That'd be insane. I'm thinking like
Contender Series fight by the time I'm 25, so that gives me about that's like a realistic goal. In a year you get 4 or 5 fights. I had 3 fights in a year, MMA fights. So now I'm gonna have 4 fights in a year, hopefully 5 fights. Just be consistent because that's how you get recognized. You gotta be consistent. So
get out there, be consistent, get fights.
UFC by 25, 26, and we're just gonna keep going because. I want that strap, baby. I want that gold.
That would be crazy.
The paycheck and the belt.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, just being on the UFC pay-per-view fight, like that would be a feeling that in Vegas or something. Yeah. Oh so my gosh. I used to think back a couple years ago and be like,
man, I can't wait till I'm number one, get my belt and I'm about to go pro. So now it's like I'm seeing it right now. So that's really motivating for me is like.
Yeah, too bad we couldn't get the belt. I would have put it up here or something. Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah.
Next time.
We'll have to have you in after you win this next fight.
Yeah.
So we've got this show. We kind of split it up into like two halves. This first half we're talking about what you're doing, and then now we're gonna go out into the second half and we're gonna talk about kind of who you are, like get to know you as a person a little bit. And it's a little bit deeper on the deeper side, but let's start to talk about like are you intrinsically like inside motivated or outside motivated? Where do you pull your motivation come from?
That's a good question. So I'll write a lot of stuff down and I'll put it on my mirror because the first place you're probably going to go in the morning when you wake up in your bathroom, brush your teeth, take a shower. So like I'll put a bunch of positive notes and everything. Like one that I got is like, my dad wrote, he said, train harder than any fighter in the world every day and you'll become a world champion. And you just tape it right there. And then there's another one that's like, take pride in the little moments. And it's like, success isn't a destination, it's a state of mind. So like, just stuff like that, it sticks.
That's a great saying.
So like, I totally agree with that. And it's the first thing you see in the morning. You don't have to find a motivation because it's right there.
That's
just boom and boom, and that's the first two things you read. I read them every day, and I'm just like, well, let's get it. Today's the day.
Yeah.
But you got to treat it like 1% better every day. You can't waste a day because if you're not training and your opponent is, that's the day that maybe could have count. The day that
could have made the whole difference.
Could have made the whole difference.
That's
You got to be consistent. You got to be positive, patient. You know, it's a tough game, dude. It's a hurt business.
Yeah.
So you got to be ready to go. You got to be in shape. You got to be mentally ready because once I go pro and everything, I could be fighting next weekend. You know, they give you a call, hey, so-and-so pulled out. You in shape? You ready to go? And if you're not training, you may never get that opportunity again. So it's like, for me, I always got to stay locked in.
Yeah.
Because if not, that'll go right out the window and you'll be doing something else before you know it.
So you're really, like, you're getting a lot of that motivation just, like, straight within yourself. You're putting it up and you're following it. That's hard to do. That's impressive. But, like, for someone who's doing what you're doing, that's what you'd expect. You're doing one of the hardest things there is to do.
And on the days where you're like, man, I don't want to do it, those are the days that I go hard. I don't want to do it. Well,
I'm gonna go hard then.
Get your ass moving because
I got my motivations up around here. My like positivity is equal to possibility. Yeah, 3 things a day, 21 things a week. Yeah, that's all you need to do to achieve your goals. Is really 3 things.
That's it.
Yeah.
You gotta believe. You gotta be positive.
You gotta do the 3 things though too. Exactly. You have to whatever you set as your goal, your 3 goals of that day. You have to do them, and then keep a positive attitude, and you'll have any possibility. There you go. That's what we try and represent here.
Doors open.
Try and show that to any of the dreamers out there watching is that if you do have that open-mindedness, you can become number 1 at what you do, whatever it is. Yeah. You got to have that open mind and that work ethic. It's simple to understand, but hard to do.
You know, and even if you do it, there's going to be the people that call you crazy. You know, people have said, oh, man, Porter's crazy. He's out there running the hills at 2 a.m. But that's because they're not. And you gotta be willing to put yourself in those situations that other people won't.
Yeah, you can't even think about what other people are thinking.
Nope. I know what I'm doing, and you better be trained because I know I am.
Yeah. Okay. So you get all the motivation from your mirror. It all comes from within yourself. Like that's almost like a symbol in itself. It's like you pull the motivation from the mirror, and the mirror is you. You know, you're seeing yourself.
Even the
you're
fights,
pulling it.
Dude. You know, you watch these fights. These are really the only sports that are kind of going. So. You know, a lot of people are watching MMA now because those are the first sports.
MMA. Yeah.
And you know, you see what that Khabib guy said yesterday. He just won a world title. You know, he's 29-0 and he's retiring. And the last speech that he said was, "Be good and stay close to your parents," or something like that. That's
you don't hear that
legend to the sport, and that's what he's saying to us instead of. You know, you got McGregor saying this and that and talking a bunch of crap.
I like McGregor though.
You got Khabib saying, "Stay close to your parents, be good." You know, that's the type of positivity that you need to have as an athlete. You need to hear it.
Yeah, and you don't hear that a lot in other sports.
Nope.
You don't hear other athletes. You don't hear.
It's not as deep. You know, when you're passing a ball around, it's not as deep. I can go into that cage and, honestly, you might not come out of there.
Yeah.
So it's like
people. I mean, it's happened. Rarely, but like
it's part of it.
It is definitely like the most mentally. I mean, I might get some hate. Someone might say I don't know running marathons, but I think.
Hey, that's tough too, man.
I think mentally it's like marathons and fights, like things like that. Those mental strength sports, those are the hardest things to do. But
you need to always do that, even if it's not physically. You need to push your mental. You need to always try and push yourself mentally, because in any aspect in life, whether it's go the extra mile or do the extra practice exam, you gotta.
Yeah, and you don't know when that's gonna come in to help you. Training your mind to get stronger, you don't know when that's gonna come in to help you.
It's like the David Goggins. He was like, "Callous your mind. Callous your mind. You can conquer anything."
See, what I like to say is, you have to become comfortable being uncomfortable to be successful in life.
Yep.
That's
awesome.
If you're comfortable being uncomfortable, no matter what comes at you, you're gonna be comfortable with it.
It's like the Timothy Bradley, Teddy Atlas. He's in his corner and he's saying something about it's hot in here, it's a fire, but we're firefighters, so like when the fight gets tough and it starts to get crazy, get comfort in it because we're firefighters.
That is the mindset that some of these fighters, blood dripping down their face, off their eyebrows, these fighters are out there, and just
that's when you see what you're made of.
Yeah. So most people never even get that test in their life.
Nope.
Most people never even have to try it.
It's addicting. You go out there and you fight, or you go out there and you just feel that energy and the support that comes your way. Even when you lose, dude.
Yeah.
They're still saying good job. They're still saying, good fight. So, that's motivating for some people is, hey, I'll do better next time.
Dude, and the thing is, a loss is just as important as a win. Because
more important.
You learn. You probably learn more from a loss than you do from a win.
Yeah. I've learned more from a loss than I ever have from a win.
I mean, and that's important. Like, if you're going to take a loss, take it early. And
you need them. It keeps you level-headed. It keeps you humble.
Yeah.
Nobody's undefeated forever. That's the truth. Even, bring it back to what Khabib was saying. He just fought yesterday. He was already saying, I could be beat. I know that I'm beatable.
Yeah.
So, but you got to have that ain't nobody beating me mindset. But you also need to be realistic and say, hey, there's somebody out there better than you.
There's somebody younger, somebody coming up. Yeah,
1%
it's always
better. Worry about you and just get yourself 1% better every day.
If you can train against yourself, that's
it. You're your competition. When you go in there fight, it's you versus you.
So, what are your biggest inspirations? Like someone let's get someone personally who inspires you, and then someone that you draw inspiration from,
all right, so
in fighting or music or whatever.
Somebody who's inspired me, that's kind of pretty close to me. My friend Devontae Smith, he is in the UFC now, but when I first started training, he was kind of like where I was, where he was, amateur, about to go pro, getting his name out there. So, he's in the UFC now, and I've kind of, I was around him training whenever he was amateur. He'd come to the gym at 3:30. And I was like, well, shit, I see he's coming there at 3:30. I got to get there at 3:20. 3:20.
Yeah.
So I'd get there just about as early as he would. And I'd try and stay just as long as he did, because I saw what he was doing to people out there when he's fighting. And my dad was like, that's another person. My dad, my stepdad, he was like, if you want to be good, you got to go out there and fight these people. And I was like, man,
you got to fight the best.
I was like 14 years old. I was like, damn, man, all right, I'll go out there. But, he always drives me to do better, go the extra mile. He's always give me good advice, but with Devontae, he's always given me advice too, the best advice that he could. He's always down to help me, and he's in the UFC. He's at the top stage, but he's still putting the time in with me, so I appreciate that. And
no, that's awesome.
I see that.
It's awesome to have someone like that on your team.
You got somebody who's paved the way, and you kind of follow it. So another guy, Taiwan Claxton, he's in Bellator. And, I was training with him for a while, and I saw how he trained, and I saw where he was at, and it was just even more motivating. So, when I'm around that and I'm training with those people, I try to match that intensity, because if not, you're going to get fucked up.
Yeah.
If you don't match that intensity and you don't grind like he is, well, you
aren't in the same game. What weight is Devontae?
He's a 55er, so he's a lightweight.
Okay.
So I'm 45er. He's a 55er. So.
What is man? I'm so bad at the names for these. I know that. So is Bantam lighter than you?
35.
So Bantam's 35. Okay, so I thought it was Bantam feather and then lightweight, and then everyone like heavyweight and super heavyweight. That's easy to remember which order they go in.
MMA, it's only 265, so you can't fight heavier than 265.
You can't fight heavier than 265.
And there's some big boys that be cutting weight to get to 265.
Shoot, yeah.
So, yeah, there's big guys out there, man.
265, yeah. I've seen some guys who were like in the threes, like well up in the threes, cut a bunch of weight and do that.
Yeah, and then you go see him fight in that.
Do you know George?
Slam Pointer, yeah.
Yeah, George Pointer.
Big boy,
dude. Oh my gosh.
George's got some work.
You know, he's like the first person I ever like sparred with boxing.
He's a nice guy, big teddy bear.
Yeah,
George, don't beat me up, man.
I love George. Oh my gosh. So did you give us like an inspiration of someone that like is like in your craft that you pay attention to that gives you inspiration, or like someone famous or something? Do you have anyone like that? Khabib?
I see.
You like that mentality?
I just see how respectful he is at the top of his sport, and how he still, after everything that he's done in the sport, he still gives the credit to his dad. He was like, don't talk. He was at an interview once, and he was like, don't talk anything about me. He's like, talk about my dad. So like, when you're at the head of your sport and that's what you're saying, man, just
that's someone who can be inspiring. That's definitely inspiring.
He's positive. He's
kept his head together through 29 wins.
And that's the thing is, you'll see a little bit of fame get people all crazy. So like he didn't let that distract him from his goal. It wasn't the money, getting famous, getting rich. It was legacy and leaving the best champion that he could. And that's what I train for. You know, the money's gonna come if you're training hard and you're doing the right stuff and winning. Money will be there, but that's not ultimately why I'm doing it. So like, I want to.
Hey,
when you say my name, I want people to be like, man, that dude, he got it.
If you're fighting for the money, just the second that you say I'm not doing it for the money, it's like I believe in this guy, because if someone's really not doing it for the money, you know they're working harder than the people doing it for the money. You just know it.
Because then when it ain't going your way, you'd be like, man, maybe the money ain't worth it.
Yeah.
But if you're in there and it ain't going your way and you want to leave a legacy and everything, you're gonna be like, you're gonna have to kill me in there. And that's how you gotta have it.
Yeah, that's
it. It's a hurt business. And if you don't have that mentality and your opponent does, it's gonna be a long night or a short one.
Yeah. Oh wow. Oh wow.
Can't sugarcoat it.
Yeah, that's
a long night or it's gonna be a short one.
It's gonna be a long or a short one. That's a good saying. Man, you got some great mindset going on. Like it must be. How long did it take you to build this mindset? It
doesn't happen overnight. You gotta practice it just like you do your fighting.
Yeah, just like doing 10 push-ups one day, 15 the next day. Like you just train this mindset. Do you know if there was like a point when like you started to be like, I need to have this type of mindset to win? I
think when I just started training with like Devontae and Taiwan, and even my friend Demonte, he's knocking on the door of the Contender Series now, and he's 5-1 as a pro. I'm 5-1 as an amateur. And when we train, we go. That's like one of my main training partners, DeMonte Robinson.
Okay.
And so when I see like, those people right there with me, it's like, I want to train like he is. These are the guys that you need to be surrounded by. So it was like, with that mentality, it was when I started to see how much potential I have. It wasn't like this is a hobby anymore. It was, damn, you're getting kind of good. What do you want to do with this? I had coaches like, are you going to fight? And I was like, I guess, why not? So it's like, I'm pretty sure that's when it was like,
you just were like, got to get that mindset.
You got to think about it as, I'm not getting locked in there with you. You're getting locked in there with me. So that's how I put it. So when I get into that cage, I let it be known like, boy, you're locked in here with me. I ain't in here with you.
Oh my gosh.
And that is hunting season as soon as that bell rings.
Giving me the chills in here. I'm ready to go watch you fight right now.
So
about to walk down the street, see if anyone's walking their dog.
Got some trouble. Some links. I'll send you some links. I got some fights on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I'll have to come see some highlights.
Yeah.
But like, what was okay, yeah. So you're surrounding yourself with people who are successful in the craft. Like, if you surround yourself with people who are successful, like you will just slowly be convinced that you can. There's only the option of you being successful too.
Or if you hang out with people who aren't successful, there's a saying: it's if you hang out with trash, you start to smell.
Yeah.
My grandma told me that a long time ago.
Really? And like who you surround yourself with matters. Like there's a lot of sayings. Like I've heard people say you are the 5 people you hang out with the most.
Hey.
You're them.
I heard that on a video on Instagram once. That was really good too.
Yeah, I've heard that, and that's just like, and if you surround yourself with successful people, they'll convince you can be nothing but successful.
That's it, yeah.
So, surround yourselves wisely, and that doesn't mean like drop your friends.
Mm-hmm.
I think that means if your friends are going down a path, like be the bigger friend and be like, hey man, we both got to get our minds right, and
you gotta bring them up.
We got to come up together.
That's how it goes.
That's you gotta surround yourself wisely, and if you aren't, you gotta make steps to make yourself surrounded well.
So when I make it, I'm taking care of the people that helped me out.
Mm-hmm.
They looked out for me. They supported me. Because right now, when you start to win, you start to see a lot of fake support, and that's one thing that you can't get to your head is like.
You can't let the haters or the supporters get in your head.
Man,
you just have
I
to.
had people that used to bully me in high school, and now they're messaging me, "Oh, good luck with your fight," and they want to do sessions and everything. I'm cool with that. I'm like, hey, I appreciate it, but don't think I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So it's like you need to know who's really with you, because when you start to get a little fame, you're gonna see people come out of the fucking woodwork and be like, "Hey."
People come out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
And especially like business managers. Like if someone's coming out of nowhere, like business manager, that's scary. I was just watching an Instagram thing about I want to say it was 2 Chainz or something, but one of these rappers, Waka Flocka. It was Waka Flocka. One of these rappers got scammed 4 times in his first 2 years, making multi-million-dollar by different random managers and accountants and
you
stuff.
gotta watch what you're signing, dude. If you get a manager, you can't get pen happy and start signing away because you're locked in now.
I feel like that's the thing that people don't realize about MMA. MMA is it's a lot of business as well. Like there's a promotion series. You have to be cool with all the promotions around. You have to
it's who you know.
Know the promoters.
You
have to you have to know business as well.
Yep.
It's almost like fighting is almost like the rap or it's very similar.
It's who you know, because there's some rappers out there that suck and they're they're at the top, but it's who you know. So there's people that are in the UFC that really shouldn't be in the UFC, but it's who they know. And then there's people that aren't in the UFC
that
should be there.
And you don't want to run into that guy.
So,
you definitely don't want to run into that guy who deserves to be in the UFC.
Ultimately, you're gonna have to.
So or you could be that guy.
Yeah, or be that guy.
You could be that guy who needs to be in the UFC.
That's a good way to put it. That's how you gotta think about it.
All right. So we kind of touched on this, but I want to know what you would consider like defining moments in your life that kind of brought you to this mindset, to the person that you are, and they don't have to be necessarily related to fighting. Like my defining moment for the podcast, one of them was when I decided that my major at school, I wasn't gonna be doing college anymore, and I was I want to do this instead. That was my defining moment for this. It really turned me into this.
Yeah. So for me, it was I'm still living with my parents and everything, and they were like, do you want to go to school or do you want to pursue fighting?
Really? And when you made that?
And the whole, not too many parents support a kid's decision to become a professional fist fighter. So from when my parents were like, we support it. We support it 100%. If this is what you want to do, tell us now. So that's when I was like, man, I don't want to go back to school. I was like, this is what I want to do. So that was a really
school will be there
moment.
Though.
School was always going to be there. Your window of opportunity in an athletic career is not always going to be there. So you got to, it's now.
Your inspiration for your dreams, one of those things, your athletic ability, you need to do that while you're young, but also the inspiration that you have and the goals, the big dreams that you have when you're a 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, through your 20s, that inspiration you have, that is going to fade away as you wait to follow your dreams. So no time like now. I'm not saying drop out of school or anything, but start taking steps. Do a couple things every day.
But also don't spend your time doing something that you hate.
Yeah.
If you hate what you're doing,
get out.
Dude, find out what you like to do and go do it. You know, for me, I absolutely love my life. I train all day, and when I'm not training, I'm training other people to get them to where I'm at, and that's motivating to me. When I see people texting me, they're like, you know, my punches are
the
getting
grind
better.
celebrate
I see
segment.
that, and I'm like, I'm doing something right because I'm training you here. You know, if I see you doing something wrong, that all comes back to me too. So I'm like, hey, now I gotta get you going. But ultimately, you can't be a full-time coach and a full-time fighter.
No.
So for me, you know, you get some money on the side, and you're also helping a couple people. So that's motivating for me too, is if I could help somebody out.
Yeah, helping other people. If you like helping someone else like get better, like they'll thank you. They like that. Like that feels as good as accomplishing
Then
something at times.
It.
Yeah.
So it's like if I teach you this, then you could pass it to somebody. So it's like, and it, you know, a lot of martial arts is watered down. You know, you get a lot of boxing, and a lot of it's watered down because they want your money and everything. So when you got somebody who's
really
kind of
teach
interested
you.
in you and willing to teach you the right way, man, jump on it, because
all I know,
coaches aren't always going to be there.
All I know is I did not know a handgun choke was a real thing. And they showed me that, and I was like, oh, man, that's so cool.
Yeah, they got handgun chokes, baseball bat, dude.
There's so many moves. Just sitting there in jiu-jitsu one day with the coach.
And that's humbling, dude. You see you can get choked out from 100 different angles.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like knowing that.
From a girl, and then it's like, damn, man, what did I sign up for?
If some girls in an MMA class, mess any of you guys who think you're tough at the bar up, she'll mess you all up.
Punch a hole in your head.
Dude, oh my God. There's some scary girls out there.
What's her name? Amanda Nunes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Dude, and UFC is the only professional sport where the girls get just as much screen time and play. It's the only sport that you get to see them both equally.
Less than 10 years ago, there wasn't a woman in the UFC.
That's crazy. That's vast progression.
Until Ronda Rousey changed it for everybody. You know, she changed it for all the girls. Now, it's almost easier for a girl to get to the UFC than it is for a guy, because
it's a new market.
It's a new market. There's tough girls out there, but there's also a lot of girls that shouldn't be in there. So
yeah, just like, I mean, everything's got it takes time to find that balance.
Oh wait, you may never even find it.
Yeah, but like you kind of need that little bit of crazy, because like
comfort.
That's where the sport comes from. You know, people think they're all this, and then they aren't, and then people think they aren't, and then they're all this. You know, like that's where you get the actual the vibe of the sport.
You're only as good as your last fight.
Yeah.
If you lose your last fight and the next fight you spark them quick and cool knockout, then you're a superstar again. So that's why you gotta be consistent, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. There was something we were talking about earlier, but it made me think about I've been trying to change I have been changing recently my mindset on life feels at times, especially growing up, felt like a roller coaster. It's like, man, I'm super happy this day. I'm mad at everyone this day. Like all this stuff's going on. Yep. I've just been trying to turn my mindset, and I've been doing it for a month or two now. It's literally all I see life as is grind time, celebration time. That's it. It's the only two times I have.
Yeah.
Grind, celebration. So
balance.
When I'm grinding, I'm supposed to be grinding. When I'm celebrating, I can do whatever I want. I can have fun. Mm-hmm. So my focuses are only two things: getting better and having fun.
Yeah.
So
that's
and then
life, man. You gotta get better and have fun.
It makes it so much easier to focus on just a few things, and not even the more things I can forget. Mm-hmm. Honestly, the easier my focus and my craft and everything improves better when I think about less.
You can't spend your energy on stuff you can't fix, stuff you can't control, or you're just gonna go crazy, man.
Yeah,
you just gotta be like, man, just go with it. That's one thing I'm good at.
Imagine being a fighter and just being like, every time you're about to every time you're training, you're thinking about, man, I just wish I could be 2 inches taller. My wingspan. You can't think about that type of stuff. That stuff's out of control.
Can't do it. You gotta work with what you got.
While you're thinking about your wingspan being 2 inches longer, you're getting hit.
There's guys out there fighting with one hand.
Oh my God.
There's people out there that have one hand and he's still throwing it at you, and you see that he ain't letting that stop him.
Yeah, there was that wrestler from Maslin back.
Yeah.
Who had what did he have? No legs?
No legs. What's his name? Zion or something.
Yeah, Zion. Yeah.
Yeah, and that dude's a beast.
Yeah, I want to fight him.
And then you got people out there that don't want to fight because they hurt their hand in training. Come on, man.
Man, it's a crazy. That is, I love the sport of MMA. It's the only sport that like you can talk about like this. It's like it's a conversation,
it's
you know.
The truth. You know, you could say this and that, but as soon as you get in that cage, that's when the truth.
There's no fantasy MMA league.
Nope.
You can't have a fantasy
WWE, that's fantasy MMA league.
Yeah, but you can't have a fantasy football team for MMA. It's not like that. It's something real. You know, it's something.
It's the realest.
MMA's been around like. Realistically, it's been around a long time, but like if you go back, I mean, the martial arts have been around for thousands of years, yeah. But like if you go back, you know, gladiator fights, ancient Greece, like people fought, and that's the original sport.
So now, as fighters with the ESPN and you know, kind of like all those next opportunities that we get, this is the window of opportunity. You're starting to see the money kind of pour in. It's starting to get treated as if it's like it's NBA
legit.
or baseball or something like that. So you know, the UFC, they're really branding it, and it's great.
And yeah, they're just like there's some respect in there. And I actually think like people like Joe, like I don't know a lot of the other commentators, but people like Joe Rogan, he's done a lot for the sport.
He's black belt jiu-jitsu. When he says it, he's saying it how he could explain it to the average eye, where they're like, oh, they're
so
just
good
wrestling. No, they're not just wrestling. They're doing something. And I like how, you know, sometimes they do say some off-the-wall stuff when they're commentating, but a lot of the times they're giving you really good insight on that and everything.
You know what's the craziest thing that I learned about jiu-jitsu in my like 5 or 6, maybe 5 weeks of going to classes was that when you're rolling with someone, when you're doing jiu-jitsu, you aren't thinking about what you're doing right now, or you aren't thinking about your next move. You're thinking about the move after that.
3 steps ahead.
And I couldn't, like, obviously I've only done it once a week, 5 times.
Yeah.
But that would take me a lot more training than that to get that mindset, to be thinking about when I make my next move, he's going to react like this, and then I'm going to do this. Like, that's a lot of thinking.
You got to know where he's going to be. So, like, if I, you know, do something with my arm, I need to know where you're going to be. Or if I, like, you know, do a sweep, I need to know where your weight's going to be.
Yeah, so it's like if I do this, he'll react like this. And then when he reacts like this, that's my opportunity to do this. Like, it's crazy. It is really crazy.
It's awesome. That's why it's
a chess game.
You love it because
with muscles.
Nobody's the best at jiu-jitsu. You'll be the best at jiu-jitsu, but ultimately you can't learn every single thing. You're always going to learn something new at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, because it's not like you're going to be in the same situation 100 times.
Go do something else. Go learn something else, but you're always going to learn something. I know I am.
Do you like jiu-jitsu? What are your favorite, like is jiu-jitsu your basis? What's your fighting style like, if you could describe it to me a little bit? Are you
My fighting style is beat your ass in all aspects of fighting.
Okay. So
whether that's
you like boxing, you like jiu-jitsu, kicks, all that, you like it all?
Yeah. So like if they want to wrestle, well, we could wrestle, we could do jiu-jitsu. You want to do some jiu-jitsu, we could do that too. We want to stand up, we could do that too, but ultimately I want to be the one dictating where I want to take the fight. So
okay.
I'm not going to react to it off of what you're doing. If you're shooting takedowns,
do you have a favorite? Like even just for training?
What do you mean, like through wrestling, jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, of all the different things that you practice.
I'd say wrestling.
You like wrestling the most?
I mean, it's the stuff that you need to work on the most. You're never going to be the greatest wrestler ever. So, like, for me, I didn't wrestle in high school and college. So, you know, I need to spend my time wrestling now because I didn't wrestle as a D1 athlete. So, I need to wrestle the D1 athletes and try and beat them in their own sport. So then when they come box me, you know, then they can come and try and beat me with the boxing. So it's like, for me, I like working the wrestling the most just because that's the game changer of the fight. You know, you get hit real hard, you don't want to be standing anymore, you can take the guy down. But if you get hit real hard and you don't know how to wrestle, well,
you're going to get hit real hard again.
You better figure something out quick.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I like the wrestling.
Okay, so we've got like 2 deep questions in a row here, and then we're going to do like a little like outro of the conversation. So you ready for the deepest questions of the show?
I guess, man. Let's do it.
All right. So when you leave this earth, you know, even bigger, this is bigger than when you finish your MMA, UFC career. You know, when you're out of here for good, what do you want to be remembered or like talked about? Like what do you want to be remembered for?
That's a good one. What do I want to be remembered for? That I always showed up to fight. I always tried my hardest. And really, I always kept a positive mindset, dude. You know, I'm not, whether it's an injury, whether it's an act, anything, you can't let anything stop you from your goal. So it's like, for me, I want to be known as the guy who is like, that dude, he went all the way. You know, he put all of his eggs in one pot and he made it work. It wasn't like train hard and hope that you get there. It was train hard and know your ass is going to be there. So that's where I'm at now, is I train as hard as I do, and I do what I do because I know that I'll be there. I don't care if you don't know, or if you don't think I'll be there, if he doesn't think I'll be there, because ultimately you're the one who's getting in there to fight. If you don't believe it, nobody's going to believe it. But if you do believe it, you know, sometimes everybody's going to believe it. So, you know, when I leave this earth, I want people to know that, like, that guy was the real deal. He worked. He did it. He put that work in.
All right, so next question is the two on this one, you know. Give him the 1-2 question. All right, so if that day came tomorrow, would the people close to you, like, I know you'd obviously like to do it on a grander scale. Everyone would like to do it on a grander scale. We're very young. But would the people close to you think that of you?
100%.
That's amazing.
You know, if you know me, you know I go the extra mile. I'm always, you know, I'm looking out for the people that mean the most to me, whether it's training partners. If you got a fight, I'll help you get ready for your fight. You know, if I have a fight, I want you to help me get ready for it. So they'll always know that, you know, I help the people that help me, and I put that work in, baby. I went all the way. So that's it.
Like, most people, if you think about, and you ask that question to a bunch of random people, you know, like, most people would say, oh, I want to be remembered for this. But if you ask them, would you be remembered for that if that happened, if you died right now? They'd be like, oh, shit, nowhere close.
No, I mean, for me, I think about it as,
you put in that work?
I already see, I hold myself as if I'm already there. So, like, you have to. So then when you get there, it's nothing new. So, like, if you hold yourself as the champion, you're like, man, I fucking run this shit. By the time you get there and you start running it, it won't be anything new. So it's really how you got to trick your mind sometimes. Because if you don't, your mind could play tricks on you. But you got to be the one that's, like, putting the tricks on your mind. So I'll hit my friends up at 2 a.m. and be like, let's go train. You know why? Because that's what champs do.
That's
you
crazy.
got Floyd Mayweather out there running 7 miles at 4 a.m. And people are like, why do you train that late? He said, because I wanted to. I want to train that late, so I'm going to go train that late. So for me, you know, I'll put that work in. It don't matter what time.
Man, hopefully you're probably gonna like, whoever watches this video, you're gonna motivate some people with what you've said today. You definitely will. So, like, let's talk, like, where people can look at you. Like, do you want people to check your Instagram out?
Yeah. So I got Facebook, Chris Porter. My Twitter is like, we'll go for Instagram. It's c.porter1997.
I'll get his Twitter and put it in the bio, the YouTube video, in the description of the Spotify and Apple and all that.
Yeah, I can actually probably look at it.
Yeah, you can look it up real quick. Yeah, we'll get all his details down in the description and everything, so you can check him out, so you can see. Do you have a YouTube with your highlights?
No, it's really, I kind of put it somewhere to my Instagram. So you follow me on Instagram at c.porter1997, and on Twitter it's chrisporter717.
Yeah, so you can go check out some of his highlights. Check him out. Follow up on what he's up to. You know, maybe we can bring a big 330 crowd out with the.
My next fight probably gonna be in Columbus.
Wait, we probably won't be able to bring out a crowd, will we?
Well,
Who knows? Who knows? I'll be there.
Hey, it'll be a link if anything.
Yeah,
you know?
You'll be able to watch it.
Buy it at home.
Yeah.
Post it as your story. I'll see that. Tag me in it that you're watching my fight. I got you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see this one coming up. I always love having, like, awesome. You're not my favorite fighter, man.
Thank you.
Sorry to all my other fighter friends, but, like, right now he's my favorite fighter.
Yeah.
I need a fighter to get behind. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. So all right. So we are coming towards the end here, and I just got one more question for you. After everything we've talked about today, you know, this is, like, pretty much the first time me and him have met. We've maybe had a 1-minute conversation when he was working at the restaurant bar that's right down the street here. So we learned a lot about each other. I learned a lot about you that I didn't know. I just knew that you were fighting and that I'd seen some of your stuff on Facebook, and you probably just knew that I was some guy you had on Facebook that posted about a podcast a lot.
You messaged me, you said come in for this podcast. I was like, come in there.
Yeah, and let's answer the question of what is your dream?
My dream, of course, win a world title. Whether it's UFC, Bellator, wherever it's at, wherever is giving me the opportunity. But, I want to put my mom in retirement early.
That'd be nice. Win a world title, retire your mom. That's a dream. That's a dream if I ever heard one.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one.
Ultimately, I look out for myself, but I got to look out for the ones that looked out for me.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. We are now on, I want to say, pushing 14 platforms for the audio version, always on YouTube for the video version. And there's just keep posted on the Dream Tour. We've got a lot of interesting shows coming up. We had a really great one today, and I hope that everyone was able to draw some motivation. I hope that this video was able to really inspire someone. And just remember to keep dreaming, stay positive, and just take a few steps every day towards your goal, and that they will happen. I promise that.
Hey, I am a man with my feet on the ground, nigga, I stand. I'ma face my problems, don't help it hands. I'm just saying that I never ran. I had to ball in spite of the pain. I was tired of the losses, I wanted to gain. I want the whole world to know my name. If I make it out, know I'm bringing the game. They my brothers, yeah, they know my pain. We don't share a mind, but I love them the same.